welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining today from the Fitchburg Police Department and our Human Resources Department, we've got Captain Edward Hartwick, or Ned. He said I could do either. And Sarah Olson, our Director of HR. Thank you both for joining me today. We got a big discussion points today talking about staffing the police department. Recent article came out in a local paper talking about recruiting and the hiring of police officers. It's a challenge. And actually, in recent community presentations that you were doing the last couple of months, you had actually talked about it during these presentations about where we've been, the lack of getting candidates in, and you both are like, yeah, we've been doing this. So today we're going to focus on kind of shedding some light onto this area and what's been happening. So Ned, I think we start with you. The challenges in police. There's lots of challenges, and it's endless, but what's the change in staffing from what it was to what it is? And that mean both in we're seeing a lot of people exiting the force, but we're not seeing a lot of people entering the force.
Yeah, Jeremy, thanks for hosting us to have this conversation. I think it's been on a lot of people's minds, and it's having a real impact in our community and our department. But it's also happening across the country, so I think it's important. We're going to talk specifically about Fitchburg today, but this is a nationwide trend, and I think it's important just to give some context to our community, to the people that we serve, to understand what these challenges are. It's interesting you mentioned the community meetings, just to back up here a second, and in a recent presentation that I had, I asked the group how many officers they thought we had working at any given time. And we get answers that range from 10 to 50, and then I ask how many people we have in the department in total, and people think 200,
right.
300 people. I give them the context of the size of the community that we serve. And so I think it's really interesting just to kind of align people's expectations with reality and inform them as to what's going on. Because most often people aren't calling the police, which is a good thing. And when they do, we show up, but they don't necessarily know what goes on behind the scenes. So this challenge has been going on for probably 10 years now, but really we've been seeing that really peak in the last 4 years since 2020. And so we're going to talk a little bit more about these trends. But we're seeing more vacancies, fewer applicants, and all of these things are kind of adding up for the perfect storm as it relates to what we're trying to do.
Let's talk about the officers that we have on hand. So answering that question, it's pretty surprising actually, because when I first started here too, I was thinking, oh, we got a ton of officers, right? No, we really don't. So what do we got active today?
So we are authorized in our budget for 55 sworn positions. So that's everything from the chief of police going into the captain rank, sergeants, detectives, and then into officers. So we're authorized for 55. Now in reality, we have always been operating with fewer than our authorized strength. I can only remember maybe a couple of months where we've been fully staffed.
Wow.
And that's for a variety of reasons. You have retirements, you have changes in careers, and a whole host of things that go on there. Right now, we have 6 vacancies. So that doesn't sound too bad, right? We have 49 out of our 55 personnel. But the next factor that we have to take into account there are what we really have for available positions. And that means that we have people that are at the police academy, so we've hired them. We can't hire someone else to replace them, but they have to go away to the police academy for 4 months to get trained. So that's 4 months that they're not working on the road, filling shifts. We have people that may be on FMLA, family medical leave, people that may be on light duty for a variety of reasons. Basically, people that can't go out and fill a position out on the road, answer calls for service. So that drops us down to 41 people. So we've been operating even lower than that, sometimes down to like 65% of our authorized strength.
I was gonna say I'm happy where we're at right now because I know where we were, and it wasn't good, and we still got a long ways to go. And maybe that kind of goes into the next part of this is what is hindering people from joining the police now. I'd asked you off the top about people are exiting for various reasons, but more importantly, as we're trying to bring in people in here, what's going on?
Well, I think if we go back to 2020, we look at the challenges both related to the pandemic, people reprioritizing their lives and how they're going to work and live, remote work, people looking at employment differently, and just really a change in the job market overall. And then also we clearly had the impact of the spotlight on law enforcement for a variety of reasons in 2020, and some very negative portrayal and lack of public support that began in 2020 and still persists today. We also, I think, tend to see some people that are maybe reprioritizing what they value in public service. There used to be an emphasis on people looking for benefits and retirement, and that's not so much the case anymore. And then locally, there's really increased and in very intense competition for law enforcement officers. That's every agency for new officers, but also for lateral officers too. We have a neighboring agency that is paying officers significantly more money to come and work for them. And in fact, we had 6 officers in the course of 1 year that departed for the sheriff's office.
Yeah, and that's hard because, as you mentioned, it's a nationwide thing. But when you really hone in locally in Dane County, all of the departments in Dane County are looking for officers. So the competition is high, and yeah, people aren't going in for the same reasons they were before, or easy to laterally move one way or the other. Sarah, we'll bring you into the conversation because you're focused in on, of course, a hiring process for all of our positions here at the City of Fitchburg. But what goes into the process of just, which is a lot of work. Lot of work here in our recruiting process.
It is. We advertise a position, we perform a lot of outreach. So we're actually going to be at 2 job fairs next week. There's one at Madison College. That'll be on Tuesday, April 16th from 9:45 until 1:15. And then we'll be at Blackhawk Tech. That's in Janesville. That'll be Wednesday, April 17th from 12 to 3. So it's a lot of time spent, getting this out on different law enforcement agencies or professional associations, building relationships with the community too, and finding out, who else can we talk to, and how can we reach those passive job seekers. We screen through those applications. There's a lot of minimum qualifications, and that's dictated by the Wisconsin Law Enforcement Standards Board. So you have to have no felony convictions, be 18, have the legal right to work in the U.S., or be a U.S. citizen, I should say. There's some other things too. So we go through all those applications, and then we find an interview day, and we schedule. Every candidate should know where they're at in a recruitment process. So we always try to let everybody know where they're at. And then there's a lot of documentation that they need to provide when they come to the interview. Authorization forms, the full background packet, birth certificates, a lot. So HRs, we help with the review and follow up with those documents. And then ultimately, after that first panel interview, they meet with the command staff. So your chief, your deputy chief, your captains, and if they're selected, then we take that recommendation to the Police and Fire Commission for approval. And then lastly, there's all those conditions, right? There's a psychological, a physical, a drug screen, personality assessment. So there's a lot that goes into hiring for police officer. But it's a lengthy process. But we are pretty efficient here at Fitchburg. It truly only takes us about 6 to 12 weeks to hire a police officer. We have a continuous recruitment, which means we're always accepting applications, so anyone can apply. We just had interviews last week. We had people apply just 2 weeks ago, and we were already inviting them in for interview. Those interviews went well, and we already have command staff interviews next week. So somebody that maybe applied just 2 or 3 weeks ago is already getting a command staff interview after 3 weeks. And so from there, we try to just keep the process moving along. We're not a several-month recruitment process by any means.
Sarah, over the years, we've seen, I can remember the recruiting, hundreds of people apply for it. And we have a graphic here, or graphic, I'm going to say that right, showing applications here as a, why is the trend down? I mean,
Absolutely.
Ned's already kind of alluded to some of that, but what are we seeing here?
I mean, you're seeing the numbers that you're seeing in front of you. When we go back to 2015, we're looking at 2 to 3 recruitments in a year. It takes us basically how many applications we would get in 1 month. It takes us a year to get. So we used to get 100 applications for a 1-month posting. It's taking us a year to just get 100 applications. We average about 14 applications per month when I look back the last 6 months. So we're steadily going down. You can see 2017 and 2020 were low. We only had 1 recruitment in those years just because we didn't have as many vacancies. But the numbers are just going down. With the continuous recruitment, because we're always accepting applications, I don't know if sometimes the job kind of gets stale out there. People don't realize we are actively interviewing and hiring off of that recruitment. But yeah, the numbers are definitely going down.
And other challenges, and we've been a part of trying to help the challenges, but just the process itself, as you just laid it out, it's a process, and during that process, you're losing. So people are like, well, 200 is a lot of people applying, and what's happening? What is the challenges during that hiring process? Why are we not been able to pull so many people out of that 200 or 100 or
We've streamlined the process, so we used to have essay questions that we would have to review, and we had a scoring panel. We don't do that anymore. So if you apply and you meet the minimum qualifications, you automatically get an interview. With that, the challenges are we're getting no call, no shows for interviews. We're getting, I called about a handful of people for our last interview process that are all in other police department processes across Dane County. So they either asked to keep their application active or were withdrawing. A lot of times people will come into the command staff interview process without all of the background information, so that then stalls the background investigation. So, and then ultimately sometimes there's just issues in the background investigation. So if anyone ever is in doubt, whether or not your background will pass, just apply. It doesn't hurt to go through the process. You might be surprised. Obviously there's a thorough check that goes down.
Yeah. Switching, kind of changing gears a little bit, but still in the recruitment but retention side of things. What are we doing to help in that recruitment process and also hope for long-term retention?
Yeah, we've been really excited. We put together employee referral bonus, so employees who are active here can refer someone to be hired as a police officer and earn $3,000. If they already have law enforcement experience, it's $5,000. We added employee retention and longevity bonus for current police employees. We also have a lateral transfer incentive, so if you have a 10-year career in law enforcement, we're going to bring you in at the 10-year pay and the 10-year vacation step, and even credit you some sick leave in your sick leave bank. So we've tried to enhance our benefits, including adding like paid parental leave and a bilingual incentive, so just trying to look at ways that we can attract and retain our talented staff.
Absolutely. On the horizon, a lot of stuff coming up here. Ned, to kind of walk us through what will be coming, or Sarah, I don't know if you, whoever, both of you, but talk us through on what are some other strategies coming up, or what we're going to be seeing here.
It's a little bit of both. I mean, I want to pause this for a second and think about the impact that this has on the HR department in general, and it's a small but very effective department that's responsible for way more than just the police department. I mean, we have 300 employees, and so we're constantly recruiting, constantly hiring, constantly in contact. They're constantly in contact with people that are applying. So I just want to pause and recognize that. And Sarah mentioned a few of the things that they've been successful with bringing to the city that are new. Some may argue that they don't go far enough or aren't competitive enough, but we have to recognize that it's on scale with what the city is capable of at this point. It's a challenge that we all face. But there is, in coming up this year, upcoming contract negotiations with our police officers union. And so to potentially address that contract and make incentives more attractive for current and new staff. There is conversation at the council level for potential referendum. We received a grant for 5 new officers through the U.S. Department of Justice, so we're excited about that possibility, and those officers would be for neighborhood positions, so we're even more excited because one of the things that we hear is that we don't have the opportunities here that other larger agencies like the City of Madison do, and I would argue that we might not have the opportunities on paper, but being here as an officer, you have the opportunity to kind of make your own opportunities, right?
Yeah.
But the neighborhood officer one is a unique one. We're also working on a couple new marketing strategies. We're working with a local vendor to produce a commercial to get our name and presence out there. One of the things that we run into, and I talked to Sarah about this on a regular basis, when we go to a career fair, one of the first hurdles we have to overcome is, where's Fitchburg? I've never heard of Fitchburg before. So we kind of have to sell ourselves and our city a little bit more, and that can sometimes be a challenge. And then we are also working to kind of increase our internship opportunities. And then the other cool part, I don't know if you want to talk about the new website or landing page too.
Yeah, we're trying to, we have a new website that we'll share with you at a different episode
You're coming
of
back.
Talking Fitch. I'm coming back. But basically, we're trying to make it more friendly for the employees. So not only to know about how do I apply to be a police officer, but what is it like to be a police officer here? What are the benefits? How can I get in touch with PD? I want to do a ride along. So you can actually be able to submit some information, your information, to get a ride along on the calendar, to maybe let us know if you're interested in an internship. So we're excited to roll this out. It'll be out a little bit later this month, but it's really just a new landing page to explain kind of the work culture here at Fitchburg.
Ned, you started to talk a little bit about some of those opportunities that maybe set us apart as a department. I don't like to say that we're a small department, but we are smaller to other municipalities. But that gives you opportunity. And I think that's awesome. And I know because I'm in the building and I work with you guys that there's a lot of places to move. But tell us what sets us apart from other departments.
So I think as we really peel back what Fitchburg is about, we're a rapidly growing community. In fact, we're the fastest growing in the state. And we're growing as a department, hopefully along with that. That is a challenge. Not only do we have the challenge of meeting our current staffing expectations, but we also have to be growing and thinking about growth and being prepared for the future. But with that growth comes a lot of opportunity, and we've been excited. We've brought a lot of younger, newer officers on that have an energy and an appetite for doing new things, for bringing their interests that are things that are personal or professional to them to our department to improve our service to the community. And that doesn't always exist in larger departments where there's a lot of stuff already in place, and so that's something that's really unique here. But just really, this community is a very interesting place to work, get a lot of good experience, and serve. And we hope that we can create a very solid base of experienced officers that are staying here, excited to come to work every day and take advantage of those opportunities that both the department and the community offer.
Finally, I loved when this message started a long time ago, is step forward to serve. Step up has been what I would call the campaign of getting and joining us here. But truly, if you're looking to start in law enforcement and you don't even have experience, you can step up and become an officer. And today's officer is a lot different than officers way back when. It's a very interesting field of work, and while there's a lot of challenges out there, there's a lot of positive things that happen each and every day. And as you mentioned, our department, while a little bit smaller compared to other communities, a lot of great things happening here. So people want to step forward, they want to sign up, they want to get involved, or they just have questions. How can we step forward?
Yeah, there's a email that they can email. It's the FBPD at Fitchburg, recruiting at fitchburgwi.gov. So it's in the slideshow here. If you just go to our website, fitchburgwi.gov/police, you'll see the officer posting, and they can apply online. You can sign for a ride along too. But you're absolutely right. You don't need to have experience. We'll send the right person to the academy. So even if you're halfway through your career and you just want to make a change, it's never too late.
Yeah, I think our department's awesome, first off, and certainly appreciate both of you coming in today and sharing the information. But ask questions, get to know the department. There's a lot of great things that are going on down here because of the reference of the building here. But more importantly, you guys are doing a great job, and appreciate the time. Ned, any closing thoughts?
No, this is a team effort. Again, we're really thankful for everybody's work on this. You helping to get the message out, HR to help manage these processes, and really our staff also for being great recruiters. I try to remind everybody that we're out there recruiting every day with the work that we do. We're really proud of the work that our officers do on a daily basis. And really, I also want to recognize our staff just for persisting through these challenges. I mean, we have officers that are working multiple order in 12-hour shifts, going above and beyond, coming in when we have major situations. And so, we have a fantastic team, and we're looking for more people to be a part of that team. So thanks for the opportunity today. fitchburgwi.gov/police. You can learn a little bit more about the stuff we talked about today. We'll get this posted up, of course, on our Facebook and YouTube pages, so you can check that out. And just ask questions. It starts with a question, or just checking in with these two. They'll help you out, get you everything you need to know. Thank you both for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks.